Yeah, so I've been seeing, and there's, I won't say who, but there is some content creators specifically talking hella bad about Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth and the ending of Rebirth. And it's just dismissing the whole thing. And I don't really accept a lot of the criticisms people have of Rebirth. Like, I get that you don't like, so it's like if you're a super Final Fantasy VII fan, it's not like a one-to-one remake. Like, I get it. But it's sort of dismissing the idea that this remake is way more brilliant of a thing than people give it credit for. This is one of the only times in media history where you remake something, but people still have no idea what's going to happen, and creates intrigue and mystery of what the plot, how the plot is going to unravel. It's the most genius way of doing a remake. Because what's the issue with remaking Final Fantasy VII? It's too big. You cannot put a Final Fantasy VII remake in a modern one video game. Like, the game will be 300 hours. Like, if you just followed it, even if you followed it one-to-one and modernized it like Final Fantasy VII Remake style of, like, good dialogue and good scenes and good direction, if you just do that and you remove all the side quests and stuff, it's still going to be, like, hundreds of hours. And you have one opportunity to make that game great. And it's just like a Cyberpunk situation. How do you even make that work? Like, you just spend years and years and years making one video game that's 200 hours, and you pray that it goes well. It's like, it's literally impossible to do, especially with the way you make games now. So what they're doing is literally the best way of doing it, where it's like, okay, we have the combat system. We're setting it in Midgar as the first game. We got this 6 combat system. We're going to make it like Yakuza, where it's very linear, cool Yakuza-style side quests and stuff like that. And we're going to have the story be like that, very linear, because Midgar in the original is very linear. And just, it's like a test. And so they did that with the first game. It took them like 4 years to make that game. And they got all the assets made that they could reuse later. And Final Fantasy VII Remake was just amazing. Like, that whole experience is just incredible. And then that allowed Rebirth to be made in relatively short time, because it's just, we have all the assets, we just need to make a big open world. And so somehow Rebirth came out, like 4 years later, 3 years later? It's insane. It came out like 2020, like last year. It's actually kind of crazy. Rebirth came out within 4 years. And then now part 3 is going to be a shorter time frame. It's going to be like 3 years for the third part. And so just from a game development, forgetting the plot, like, that is necessary to make this thing work. You have to put it in 3 games. So I don't really buy the criticism that that's like, oh, well, this should have been just one game. I can't carry over my saves. I can't carry over all my abilities. It's like, dude, like, how many years do you want this game to be in development for? Like 10? You want to be like Cyberpunk, where they're making it for 10 years? And it's like, it's just too much. And so, just from a development perspective, it makes so much sense to make this into a trilogy. Because the story is just too vast and massive. There's like, especially when we get to the third part of this, there's so many epic set pieces and cinematics that are so much more expansive and grand than anything in Rebirth. Like, Rebirth, the ending was fantastical, but when we get to part 3, that story, the entire video game is basically going to be like the end of Rebirth. The entire game's going to be like that. Because you got the weapons, you're going to Midgar, the Midgar assault, the Northern Crater, the ending, the big materia, going to space. Like, there's just, everything is going to be like a big epic set piece in part 3. The freaking live stream sequence with Cloud, the Northern Crater. Oh, there's 2 Northern Craters that they're going to show. They're going to show the one where they're going first, and then they go back to fight Sephiroth, like at the end. So they have to cram all that. So even me, I'm like, how are they going to do part 3? It's like almost too much. Like Rebirth is like, oh, this is a lot. But dude, part 3 is going to be insane. There's so much shit. So I just don't buy into the argument for this trilogy that it should have been one game. And it's just like it's not realistic. How do you even do it? You're going to have to cut so much stuff out of the game. And then, when it comes to the plot, I think it's so brilliant, absolutely brilliant, that they're remaking the original story, but they wrote it in a way to be like a quasi-sequel at the same time. It is the most brilliant way to do it, because what does it do? If this was a one-to-one retelling of the original Final Fantasy VII, everyone would know exactly what happens, right? And it would just be kind of boring. Like if this was split into 3 games and it was a one-to-one, it would be kind of boring. It would not be exciting at all. And then what's going to happen when they finish it after being in development for 10 years? Well, we want a sequel. So they're probably like, because they talked, like the developers talked like, dude, we're getting old. We're going to be like in our 60s when this is finished. So what if we just close the book on this entire story with this remake? So that's like the plan. The ultimate plan when it comes to the Final Fantasy VII trilogy is we're remaking the original, right? But we're also ending the story of all of these characters. That's like their plan. Every character in the game, they're like, this is their ending. And they want to have an ending for the entire cast, especially Cloud and Sephiroth and Aerith. Like that's like their goal. They want to end Cloud's story and have him have an ending. And so the way there's this whole game is set up for that, or the whole trilogy is set up for like closing the book on the Final Fantasy VII story. Now they're probably going to continue making Final Fantasy VII stories because it's a cash cow for Square, so they're gonna probably do side stuff. But their intention, when it comes to the character of Cloud specifically, is this is an ending. This is his ending. There's no after this game. It's like that's it. Or at the part 3, it's like this is his ending. And so they've hinted that they're like leading this entire trilogy up to like closing the book on the big characters, like having it be a satisfying conclusion. And so that is so freaking exciting. I don't know, as a Final Fantasy VII fan, that is like the most exciting thing that could possibly happen, more so than my favorite game being one-to-one remade. I think that's like way better than what I would ask for originally. It was like, oh, I hope this is like a cool remake of my favorite game. But it's like even more than that. It's even more than just a remake. And not getting into any spoilers with the ending of Rebirth, but that ending is so mind-numbing, and it leaves everyone with confusion of like, what in the hell is happening? That feeling in and of itself is amazing. Regardless of how you feel about the ending of the game, the feeling of what in the hell is going to happen with the third game, just that question, makes it worth it to me. The whole idea of like, okay, nothing makes sense. I have no idea what's going to happen. Like, how in the hell is this going to work? But yeah, to me, the whole ending of Rebirth and having that question of what in the hell is about to happen is so great. It's so amazing as a Final Fantasy VII fan. and just dissecting the endings of both and the ending of Rebirth and be like, okay, is there any clues and any hints? And everything ends at a dead end. And you try to logic it, and they throw so many like weird trolling at you, like with the end credits and them not showing certain scenes of the game. Like they show all the cutscenes except for certain ones, and you're like, why did they do that? Why did they do this? Why does this character say this thing? Why is this character? Why did they use that camera shot? You know? I made a whole video about the ending of Rebirth, the last cutscene, and it's like there's so many things that they're like that they're showing that it's just like, dude, they are cooking. Like, they are so hell-bent on telling this story a very specific way, and the third part is just going to be like, you know, what they've been cooking. Yeah, I think it's just a brilliant way of doing a remake that potentially will be copied at some point with movies. I think that many movies and franchises in the future will probably rip off the Final Fantasy VII trilogy, because it's like, you know, what if at some point they remake, quote unquote, a movie, and while you're watching the movie, you're tricked, and what you're actually watching is a sequel. Like, that was the experience of playing 7 Remake for the first time. You're like, wait a minute. What's happening here? Why is this character appearing here? Why is Sephiroth here in Midgar, like, right now? Why is he here? And then once you get to the ending, you're like, huh? And just absolute bewilderment. I think it's just brilliant. It's like more than I asked for, dude. And I just think people aren't really appreciative of that fact, in my opinion. I think people like... Because I really like Final Fantasy VII, right? It's my favorite game ever made. But it's not at the same time this sacred, like, thing at the same time. It's not, like, sacred. Because I know in my brain that the game took them, like, 9 months to a year to make. And they had to cut out so much shit from the game just to, like, release it. And that's why we don't have Vincent, Yuffie, and a lot of characters have, like, barely any screen time, is because they literally had to cut it out. So the game really is unfinished. Like, they didn't do what they wanted to do with the game if they had enough time. Like, they wanted more time to flesh out Yuffie and Vincent and stuff like that. So it's not a finished game. And stuff like Final Fantasy 8, 9, and 10 are finished games. Like, if you go from 7 and then you jump to 8, 8 feels more complete as a video game. Like, okay, this is a story that they had time to cook, and they told the story they wanted. And 9 and 10 are the same. It's like those feel like complete video games. But 7 feels oddly like the most unfinished one. It's like the most brilliant one, but they spent the least amount of time on that game versus the next ones. What the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy does is it's spreading out your feel. It's like your first playthrough of Final Fantasy VII, but spread out over years, right? Because there's the buildup of the game, the anticipation, which is like, you know, years of anticipation. And that's like emulating you with the game. You're like, what is this game? It's such a sick cover. Let me put the disc in. Like, that's in modern times, like, years. And then you play the first part, and you're like, whoa, this is like you're in Midgar and stuff, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, so the trilogy is emulating the feeling you had when you first played it. And then when you get to the end of disc 1, which is the end of Rebirth, you're like, what is happening? What's going to happen with this video game? And then the same thing happened with everyone with Rebirth. They're like, what is happening with this? So everyone's having the same reactions as your first blind playthrough of the original game. I think I'm just entirely sold on the trilogy. Like, I'm super into the mystery. I'm super into, like, what the F is going on with it. I love the chaos of it. I appreciate the sort of It's like Kingdom Hearts, but better. It's like a well-crafted It's like the Kingdom Hearts to the story, but you care more. There's emotional weight. Because, like, Kingdom Hearts, there's some emotional weight, but it's also, like, just very confusing. And just sort of like, okay, they're just doing shit. They're just throwing shit out here. It feels like with Final Fantasy VII, they're doing it with purpose. And there's emotional weight behind it. They're not just, like, throwing a bunch of, like, oh, we're just gonna do random shit. It's very... There's an emotional purpose to the chaos. So... Anyway, that's what I have to say, because I've been seeing a lot of negative videos about, like, the trilogy recently, and this is like, dude, I don't really agree with any of this. Like, I get it, you don't like the fact that this is not a one-to-one, and then you just played a game like Clair Obscur, and you love the fact that it's turn-based, and all this stuff, and there's a world map, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, so much better. It's like... I love Clair Obscur, dude, but, bro, the moments in Rebirth, like, there's so many parts of Rebirth that are just magnificent, and I do not appreciate the dismissive nature, and I don't know, I don't agree with it. I love Clair Obscur, it's great, but just because that game exists doesn't mean that Rebirth is now bad. And I think that's what a lot of people are now making videos about. It's like, Rebirth, look at Rebirth. This is what Rebirth should... This is what Final Fantasy VII should be. It's like, really? It's like, dude, Final Fantasy VII Remake has, like, one of the greatest combat systems that's ever been invented in a video game. Right? It's like, the combat system of 7 Remake is so brilliant. It's so good, dude. Like, I don't know, man. I mean... Clair Obscur's combat, that could be done in like a Final Fantasy VI remake, or like whenever they make Remake 9, right? Like Remake 9 with that. But, dude, the battle system of 7 is so incredible, dude. It's so sick. So, I don't know. Like, if they do another remake, like whatever remake they do next should be like Clair Obscur, I would say. But 7, I feel, specifically deserves, like, let's try to innovate and do something new. And if we're going to do this in an action game, how do we make it an action game but still kind of turn-based-y, right? How do we solve that where it's not like Devil May Cry? So, anyway, that's my rant.